All right, so going into this segment, I'm going to highlight a video around a principle that I think we often miss when investing in the stock market, and that is the idea that you can time the market, that you could take your whole portfolio, pull out somehow at the top, and then somehow buy back in at the bottom. Let me share a story I think that encapsulates this idea. I remember my father buying their first home as a child, or not actually first. This was like our second or third home that we had actually purchased. We rented most of my life. And we moved back from Arizona into California, and we bought a house when I was in high school. And we bought this house for like $148,000, I think. And it was just a rambler, small home, not the best neighborhood, but there you go. And went through all of high school, a couple years after high school, into college. My dad, the prices were astronomical. And the market value of the home was over $300,000, so almost doubled in price. But let me tell you what my dad did that really captures this principle. When we bought the house, and I remember being a freshman in high school when this happened, when we bought the house, all I ever heard him talk about was how he bought for $10,000 more than the house across the street that had the same square footage, same yard, same floor plan. And he complained about this all the time. And then when he sold the house, it had been about 6 years later, somewhere in that time frame, and doubled his money, by the way, he complained about how the house across the street sold for $10,000 to $20,000 more. And you could really, and by the way, as far as timing the market, it was like immaculate. He was within probably 5% of the bottom and the top when he bought and sold. This is an unheard of idea, but the principle is we still feel robbed even when we get close. And there's a principle that Warren Buffett really hits hard in this video as an answer to how do I really manage my money over time, and what are the tools in place that I use. And I'll add some commentary to this also. So let's hear from Warren Buffett and a question where he was asked, how do you time the market?
My question is, how do you time the big market moves so well?
The interesting thing is, obviously, we haven't the faintest idea what the stock market is going to do when it opens on Monday. We never have had. We have never made, Charlie and I don't think, in all the time we've worked together, and I'll tell you something later on maybe about how learning takes place, but we have never, I don't think we've ever made a decision where either one of us has either said or been thinking we should buy or sell based on what the market is going to do.
No.
Or for that matter, on what the economy is going to do. We don't know.
Yeah, great principle. And the reason I bring this up, and you'll see in my S&P 500 review at the end of this, there are a lot of people who were predicting a stock market crash, and because of that, pulled their money into the sidelines. And we are now at an all-time high in the S&P 500, and if you missed that climb, or maybe even sold while it was bottoming out and then had to buy back in right now, you are sitting at a significant drawdown in your overall return in the S&P 500. When it comes to building wealth, when it comes to buying stocks, when it comes to investing, it's more about what your tools are saying, what your valuations and rules are to buy a stock or get into a trade, than it is the timing of what you think tomorrow is going to do based on fundamentals. Who knows what tomorrow is going to do? Who knows what news is going to come out or some surprise that's going to happen? You really don't know. But you can follow basic principles when it comes to making money, when it comes to investing, that frankly, you can do a long haul strategy where you just price average. You just put money in every month into a certain market, and if you'd done that in the S&P 500, would have been largely profitable over the last few decades, by the way. Or you could put it in at the end of every year, same idea, price averaging every year, but to time it just based on like, oh, I think this is the bottom, and I think this is a top, is an impossible task. And frankly, it's in most cases a gamble, unless you're doing it on a smaller scale or you have some technical analysis advantage, which we talk about here, or something else is going on. So that's really our we effed up principle, is that if you got out early of the market and didn't leave your money in and exposed to the market during this last dip, today you might be saying the same thing that happened in The Hangover, where you're saying we really effed up and we're a little late to the game. Doesn't mean you shouldn't get back in, but you might be a little late. So moving into my next segment, this is our time to go over real estate. We just got the data and the numbers in. And so I want to bring up an app, and then I'll pull up the data on our side. But let's go ahead and dive into this, and I'll bring up this fun little segment. We're calling this From Baltic to Boardwalk. So let's bring up that video, and then we'll transition into this.